What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.
Indeed it starts now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Bitcoin Thursdays with Dr. J. I'm Dr. J, having my cup of coffee here in lovely West Palm Beach. I just got here late last night after 2 amazing days in Washington, D.C. Very, very productive. So I've got a whole bunch of updates for you, but one really interesting private key capital update that I'm going to give you, which I think is going to make you really very happy for the rest of the day. So first off, a little update from Washington, D.C. What happened there? So I'm there. It's a beautiful, crisp morning, and Ben texts me and he says, "Jay, has the swamp got you?" And I said, "Nope. It looks clean." I was surprised. I had not been to Washington, D.C. probably in a few years, at least at the place where we were at the John F. Kennedy Center of Performing Arts, where the Bitcoin in DC, BTC in DC conference was being held. Amazing. It was clean. The streets looked good. I was actually impressed. Now, were there a couple of libtards and masks looking around like, with their little ostrich beak thing going with muffled voices and even more muffled brains? Yeah, there were a few of those walking around, but otherwise it was all very good. So Bitcoin in DC very much made a statement. Right in the heart of DC, I can tell you Bitcoin has arrived. And the reason I can tell you that is because the quality of the people who attended this was outstanding. I mean, Jeff Booth started off, this whole presentation as a keynote, and it was mind-blowing because effectively what he said was, look, you've got the monetary system that relies on inflation. Inflation is not a byproduct, it is a feature of the product. The product does not work without inflation. And then on the other side, you have a situation where you have sound money and you have AI, which is increasing the efficiency with which the society operates. Bitcoin increases the efficiency with which money can move. Transactions can be done in seconds. And that efficiency inherently is a deflationary impact. It reduces inflation. So while on the one hand we have this complete dichotomy where the world is using technology and moving towards increasing efficiencies, presumably for which we should all benefit from, but we don't, because the cream skimming goes only to the few. And then you have a monetary system, and his thesis was that both cannot exist at the same time. You can't have a broken monetary system that relies on inflation while we embrace AI, which increases efficiency of almost everything we do to decrease inflation, right? So it's inflation versus efficiency. It's control versus freedom. It's a zero-sum game versus an infinite wealth game. And these two don't exist in the same space. And one of them will win. And that's how he started. Now, each one of you who's here obviously knows which one will win. But what is really happening here is there is a tremendous amount of energy that is going into the winning camp. I had the honor and the privilege of meeting Ambassador Milena Mayorga. She is the ambassador from El Salvador to the United States. Now, that is probably the most important relationship that President Bukele has, because it's the relationship to the United States, the one country that's the most powerful country that can potentially catapult El Salvador into the new world. And fortunately, President Bukele has been incredibly clear on his vision, and Ambassador Mayorga certainly carries that flame forward. She is incredibly well spoken. She's bright. I had the honor of speaking with her privately for quite a while. I updated her on all of the initiatives that are Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club and Private Key Capital. And she was amazed to hear that. She said, "You guys are actually going to have Bitcoin Treasury in October." And I said, "Yes, our development will be complete by mid-October." And she said, "The rest of the banks, even in El Salvador, are about a year out at a minimum." And so she gave me her private number and said she'd very much like to keep in touch with what's happening. She's not only beautiful, she's smart, elegant, intelligent, and a great spokesperson for the great country of El Salvador. So it was really an honor to meet with her. I met with the Minister of Finance, who was there as well, and we're going to have lunch in San Salvador in October 13th or 12th or 13th. We're setting that up. But definitely, we are now starting to engage with the people of El Salvador, with the government of El Salvador on a very personal basis, and they certainly welcome us. And I couldn't begin to tell you how happy that made me, that all of the investments and the efforts that each one of you is making through the Bitcoin Ben Club, through the Private Key Capital, the country of El Salvador is going to rise, and it'll continue to rise, and with them, we will as well. I had the pleasure of meeting up with Stacy and Max, who have both been great advisors to the President Bukele and to El Salvador. They're also influencing Panama now, and Stacy and I will be catching up as well. They're hosting a Bitcoin Historica Day in November in El Salvador. It's a great celebration, and it is certainly a success story. This story is being written as we speak. This is the future of most countries that we are seeing unfold right here in El Salvador. And ladies and gentlemen, we are an integral part of it. Now, coming back to more of our home front, Senator Joe Gruters was there. He's one of our wonderful senators out of Florida, out of Sarasota. I know him. He was amazing. He not only clearly stated that President Trump is and by the way, he's not only a senator in Florida, now he's the chairman of the Republican National Conference. This is the national chair. He controls all of the money and the focus for the Republican Party nationally. And as chairman, he is 100% in support of Bitcoin. And in fact, I don't know if he slipped or if he made an official statement. He said, "We are going to pass and approve the SBR in Florida." That's done. The Strategic Bitcoin Reserve of Florida is going to be done. It's no more talk. He announced it publicly. And he is going to be supporting Bitcoin friendly candidates across the nation. I mean, this is the man, right? So Senator Joe Gruters was amazing. And of course, with him on that particular panel was our own Charlie Shrem. What an amazing story. What an amazing background and the decades of work that he's been doing. And certainly he's one of the doyens of our industry. And he's, handing over the torch to many of us to say, now go run with it. Do what I did with a little computer back in 2011, right? Build on this foundation that we're building. And with him was also CJ Constantine, brilliant man. For those of you who do not know CJ, he is he's the president and founder and CEO of People's Reserve. And they are actually, I haven't announced it yet, but CJ and his father and his company are going to be very strategic partners for us, because as we build Private Key Capital, they're going to be a part of the team that is going to help us create our own stablecoin. Yes, I'm announcing that publicly right now, that PKC stablecoin, Private Key Capital stablecoin, is a thing. It has been worked on for a while now. We already have the proposals and MOUs in place with CJ. As you know, they have already worked on the DeFi markets. And as the convergence of TradFi to DeFi starts to happen, we will be creating our own liquidity. And so he was there. And CJ made some amazing points about real estate that I took away as being very important. A question that was asked was, why did the housing prices go up so much, right? Why is it that back in 1950, the average salary was $28,000 and you could buy a house for $30,000, right? Now your average salary is $61,000 and your house is $430,000. And essentially it comes from Larry Lepard, who was, by the way, he was on fire as well, talking about broken money, right? And he said, what has happened is, before, the house used to be a place where you lived, where your family lived, where your children were safe. There was a utility to it. But as money got broken, the house started to become the store of value. The house started to become the only real asset that you could hold on to so that you wouldn't lose your shirt. Because dollar is inflationary and eating into everything. So you had broken money, and people moved their money and assets to something that would hold that value for a longer time. So now suddenly it went from a utilitarian focus to more of a store of value. And even worse, it became a financial instrument. You could take a HELOC loan against it. You could mortgage it with something. They spent a 30-year mortgage and basically got you into lifelong indebtedness. So it became a financial instrument rather than a roof over your head and a place where your family stays safe. And so artificially, the value of the house continued to increase, which was a very interesting perspective from CJ. And then, of course, Larry Lepard, who was always very kind, and he signed this book for me, and his book, of the big print, and it says, Jay, if we fix the world, we fix the money, strength, and honor. And what's nice is, this was literally a day ago. He always puts the price. It was $113,000, the Bitcoin price, and the block height was 917,089. And as you know, today it's already $120,000. So it's gained $7,000 in 24 hours. That's a good thing to be. But, when we talk about broken money, it came home very personally to me. So how broken this goddamn system is starts to become clear from a cup of coffee. So I took the late flight out of Washington, D.C. after finishing the meetings to come into West Palm, which is where I am right now, so that I can go and have a look at our new West Palm facility and meet up with the realtors and see what's going on, and eyes on, boots on the ground kind of thing. So I get off at the airport. I'm tired. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I go up to the little coffee stand that's open, and I said, I'll have a cup of black coffee, and I took out a couple dollars, and they said, no, we don't take any cash. I said, am I in the United States? Yes. Is this United States currency? Yes. Our system doesn't work. So I said, does it take Bitcoin? And they said, no. All right. So I had to pull out my Fold card and pay for the coffee, but cash is no longer accepted, right? It's a broken system. Well, that's not all. So I keep walking. I walk all the way to the rental car agency because I figure I'll drive around the neighborhood and see, where we are and what the ambiance of the place is. And I hand over my Fold card, which is the only card I use. Many of you use Fold card. I threw in my credit cards a long time ago. I keep all my money in Bitcoin. 100% of my money is in Bitcoin, and it converts to cash when I have to pay for something, right? And by the way, we're going to have legislation so that purchases made by Bitcoin are not affected by capital gains and all that nonsense. So that legislation is coming. I did spend quite a bit of time with Dennis Porter, who's been helping us write legislation. We're going to definitely not only impact Florida, but we're talking with our folks in Nashville as well to see how we can support Tennessee in also adopting sound money principles and sound money policy. So anyway, I get to the car rental company, and they say, sorry, we don't take debit cards. We only take credit cards. It's a little bit humiliating, but nonetheless, I persevered, right? I mean, many of you have found yourselves in the same place. I said, you see, this card has a lot of money on it. It's tied to my Bitcoin wallet. It's got $50,000 at least on it, enough to buy your car outright. It's my money, take it. But it didn't matter. That girl at the counter, sorry, sir, it's our policy. We don't take anything but credit cards. I said, so it didn't matter if I had money. What mattered is if I had a credit card. And so it became, at that moment, I just stood there and I smiled and I said, wow, it was a very personal revelation that our system, our broken money system, doesn't reward solvency. It rewards dependency. A borrowed dollar, a credit, counts far more than a dollar that is saved. Think about it. This damn system is a matrix. It's completely broken. It doesn't care if I'm wealthy. It only cares if I play by their rules. And if I don't play by their rules, they'll stick their head in the ostrich with that stupid little face mask and hide and say, that's our policy. This credit has become the gatekeeper of modern life. You want to rent a car? You want to book a hotel? You want to run a business? You need a line of credit, not cash, not Bitcoin, not even savings. Credit. See this? So as I walked out and took my Uber to the hotel, now of course that was a policy at the airport. So as long as I went to the half a mile down the road, the same enterprise, but not an airport location, they took my credit card, debit card or Fold card, and it was fine. But the system was designed that way. See, the banks, they don't profit from your wealth. They only profit from your debt obligations. You borrow the money, the deeper the hook sinks. Debit is punished. Credit is rewarded. You see? So it became very clear to me, this is certainly not a system of fairness. It is a system of control. Jeff Booth was talking exactly about that. And isn't life ironic? that I'll land here tired, hungry, wanting to get to my hotel, get a cup of coffee and I can't with money, get a car that I can't get with a debit card, right? This thing bothered me. It bothered me at a very fundamental level. And I'm going to tell you what I did. I've made it my mission, my personal mission, to go and say, fuck off to FICO. No more FICO scores. No more fucking credit. My life doesn't have to be run by some algorithm that decides whether I'm credit worthy. And that is the only measure of who I am and what my success is. So we have found a solution. I'm going to tell you all about it in just a moment. I sat up last night for about 3 hours over multiple cups of coffee in my hotel room here, saying my mission is going to be to remove FICO. And I came upon something that could be, as Saylor puts it, $1 billion idea for our private key capital. It's $1 billion idea, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So here's how it works. Think about the 3 layers. I was just drawing, and these are my notes from last night that I was writing down furiously as you know, I was thinking about this problem, and so we have 3 layers. All right, we got 3 layers. We got digital capital, which is Bitcoin reserves. We're already there. We have a credit union. We're building our own wallet. We can put and accept Bitcoin on chain with the keys that you have, and you can store that wealth, that energy, that value creation that you have created with your hard work, with your businesses. You can put that value into that, and you can know that it is safe. You can know that it is secure, right? You don't have to put it in your house. You don't have to put it in a REIT. You don't have to put it in a mortgage derivative products, right? So shelter does not need to be that asset class any longer. You've got Bitcoin. You don't have to leverage it for speculation. Now, once you have the digital capital, you can unleash it. And Saylor's been talking about this for a while. Digital credit. Digital credit is going to be $1 trillion market. Okay? Because the house, which had 4 walls and a roof, it doesn't need to be a collateral for credit. It doesn't need to be a hedge against inflation. It doesn't need to become a speculative vehicle. It doesn't need to become a global haven for asset. It needs to be a home for families. Bitcoin becomes that asset, that digital energy, that digital property, that digital capital, right? Which is borderless and is programmable. So digital capital, the Bitcoin becomes the hardest form of asset. And on top of that, we create digital credit. And what am I talking about here? You see, I've been thinking about a credit card, not a debit card, a credit card that'll be issued by private key capital. In fact, I was up at 6:30 this morning talking to my friend Bruno in El Salvador, getting the relationships tied up so that we can do this, and we do have it. Now, this will be not a credit card in the traditional sense, not a debit card that necessarily runs on fiat rails, but something new. Here's how it works. You deposit the Bitcoin into private key capital's insured vaults, right? It's secure. The moment you deposit, we will open up a line of credit for you, depending on your Bitcoin collateral. So let's say you put one Bitcoin in, which is at 120,000. I might say, all right, my bank's policy is I'm going to give you 33%. A third of it will be available to you as credit. You'll have a credit card. It'll say Private Key Capital credit card. And what's amazing about this is there isn't any FICO score. There isn't any agency that decides whether or not you get credit. If you have the digital capital stored in our bank, we'll give you a credit card, which will be about 33% of the value in your line of credit. And it's revolving. You can use it. And by the way, when Bitcoin price goes up, your credit line goes up. If Bitcoin price goes down, it reduces your line of credit. So if Bitcoin doubles, your credit doubles. Without any liquidation spirals, without any type of conditions and holds. There is no credit check. Your BTC is your credit worthiness. You have global access. Whether it's a farmer in El Salvador or a CEO sitting in West Palm Beach, all have same access if they have the Bitcoin. And best of all, it's going to be SAT-based reward. Every purchase will be rewarded and earn Bitcoin, not some airline miles that go away. It's going to be rewarded in Bitcoin. Once again, the house will become utilitarian. The utility will be restored. You don't need to be enslaved by debt to access credit. This is not going to be just a credit card. It's going to be the bridge between digital capital and digital credit. Think about it for a moment while we take this quick commercial break. But this is a billion-dollar idea. I've spent several hours last night. I couldn't sleep because of what had happened at the airport. And I'm telling you that Private Key Capital will get into the credit markets, digital credit markets, and it's going to be huge for each one of you and for each one of our investors and members. Right back after these messages. Sherpa, over to you.
For years, banks promised innovation, but they gave us fees and friction and fine prints. Today, all that changes. Introducing Private Key Bank from Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club, the world's first Bitcoin native credit union. Rebuilt from the ground up in the heart of El Salvador, a place where your Bitcoin isn't just stored, it grows. Earn 4% interest paid in Bitcoin, compounded, secured, and accessible. No middlemen, no hidden games, just your money working for you. Send funds across borders instantly, without SWIFT codes, without currency conversions. Pay anyone, anywhere, with a tap of a finger. This isn't banking as usual. This is freedom, beautifully engineered. The future of finance is finally here.
All right, welcome back to the Bitcoin Thursdays with Dr. J. Going to continue on this billion-dollar idea. But before I go, I saw this little tweet this morning from a fellow called Robert Breedlove. I met him at the conference as well. And he made a very pithy statement. He said, when people say, my money is in the bank, it's wrong on 3 counts. It's not a bank, it's not money, and it's not yours. So next time somebody tells you my money's in the bank, realize the folly of that statement. Bitcoin is a $2 trillion market today. Tiny. It's tiny. You have any idea what the size of the credit market is? Look it up. But all I'll tell you is that if private key capital unlocks 2 to 3% of the collateralized credit market, we'll have a $100 billion active credit pool. And you can do the math. If we give these credit cards at 12%, a lot lower, and if our cost of borrowing money is 6%, that's the revenue engine that private key capital can run all day long. But beyond the economics of it, it's about power. You see, today, MasterCard and Visa decide who can rent a car. It really bothered me, didn't it? And when something bothers me at this level, I try to find solutions. Who can board a plane? Who can transact? But you know what's going to happen tomorrow? And when I say tomorrow, I think we could get a card like this and the technology and the software built. I've built a lot of software before in my life at Silicon Valley, and I think this could be built in 6 months. All the rails and everything else. It could be early Q1, Q2 goal is to get these cards going. Private key capital can become the Visa of Bitcoin. It allows digital capital to move as credit. And I'm going to call it the great reversal, right? And by the way, Ben sent me a note last night, and he said, look what Trump is doing. He's tokenizing all of his brand, all of his assets. Why is he tokenizing all this? Well, he's tokenizing all this because it is access to massive amounts of capital. It's because fiat is broken. See, tokens will return the real estate market to utility. And Bitcoin will take the throne of value. Now let's apply the same logic of tokenization that Trump is doing to credit, to digital credit. Now, credit started as a trust between individuals. You trust me, I lend you money with a trust and an expectation that you're going to pay me back. This became a weapon of control wielded by the banks. You see, with Bitcoin, Bitcoin-backed credit restores it to fairness. Credit now becomes liquidity, not bondage. The digital capital card, I'm actually going to probably call it Dynamic Digital Capital Card, DDCC, as a mechanism to reverse the credit markets. A few years from now, when you walk up to that car rental counter, you won't have to worry about your credit score. You won't have to worry about whether you have a bank relationship or whether the clerk accepts your card. You'll swipe your private key capital dynamic digital credit card. It's dynamic because your credit will actually change. Your credit limits will increase as Bitcoin increases in value. There'll be risk management when Bitcoin decreases in value. Behind this card, there will be no debt. Behind this card will be Bitcoin, the most pristine collateral known to man and woman. And there, my friends, is that billion-dollar idea. Once we start turning Bitcoin from idle digital gold into the foundation as the ground floor of a new global credit system, what do? we start replacing humiliation at the car counter with empowerment. We replace control systems with freedom. We replace plastic debt with digital capital, with digital energy. This is where we're going to go. We're going to go there as the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club. And what we are going to do at Private Capital, at Private Key Capital, is next year, we're going to expand not only our clubs, our base of members, investors, partners. We're going to start bringing in significant amounts of capital, even from family offices, wealth funds, and other sources of liquidity who are eager to invest into the new Bitcoin order, the new Bitcoin ecosystem that we are building, one brick at a time, one resort, Bitcoin Ben's resort at a time, one credit union at a time, one ranch with beef at a time, one loan at a time. These are things that we are building. These are things that we have operational experience and expertise on. We have identified multiple different markets in 5 or 6 different segments. Energy and mining is one segment. Real estate and insurance is another segment. Food sovereignty is a segment. Hospitality and entertainment and retail is another segment. Financial services is another segment. Education through our clubs and consulting services tied to Bitcoin is another segment. These are segments where Bitcoin and the adoption of Bitcoin will fundamentally transform the way we live, learn, work, and play. It is going to transform the way we operate these businesses. It is going to transform the way the entire supply chain works. And we are the people, and you are the people who have invested into these businesses. And within the next 12 months, now I've been here for about almost 7 months now as CEO. I'm telling you, within the next 12 months, we're going to have complete operational metrics in these vertical markets. While the other money managers who manage funds are sitting there opening their little textbooks and learning what Bitcoin is and what a blockchain is and how it works and what block space is and what a SAT is, we are already not only been educating the world on Bitcoin. Bitcoin Ben has been doing it for a decade. We have invested our own monies into these Bitcoin themed, Bitcoin driven businesses. We have built software. We have bought hotels. And we're making the Bitcoin economy thrive. And we're doing that in jurisdictions and countries that accept Bitcoin. And soon the United States is going to be one of those jurisdictions where Bitcoin will thrive. And we will be on the forefront. And when all those money managers and billions of dollars that is going to go into the Bitcoin economy come, they will come to us because we have domain expertise, we have the knowledge, we have the operational skill sets, we have the operational metrics where we can deploy large amounts of capital in a safe, repeatable, and efficient manner. And deploying capital efficiently into the Bitcoin ecosystem is exactly what Ben and I are driving Private Key Capital towards. Well, I have to get ready and run over to the West Palm location very soon to meet our realtor. I hope you all have a beautiful day. I hope you found some things fun and exciting to hear from today's presentation. but I definitely want to connect with any one of you who's interested in debating, discussing. You have my number. Call me, and we will talk. We need each one of you to be part of this ecosystem. Each one of you has a role to play in transforming this broken money into sound money of the future. And we're going to do it one business at a time, one wallet at a time, one person at a time, one farm at a time. So God bless you and have a wonderful day. God bless America. Thank you so much for listening.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.